So in your opinion, why the Europe is just like ignoring that fact that a genocide happened? We all witnessed it. It was like ISIS were posting all that on social media. There is like a special program of like over 1,000 survivors. Germany brought all these survivors, and all the stories are documented. Even there are like some of the ISIS members who were from Germany. They were trailed at the court, and still the world is ignoring the Yazidis and is not opening their door for the Yazidis. So, in your opinion, why the world is silent about what happened to the Yazidis?
Yeah, I think it wasn't real silence. I think their focus was wrong, because in the beginning, when I talk to people in the Netherlands, for example, I'm talking about the Yazidis. The first thing they say is like, I don't really know who Yazidis are. And the second thing is, oh, weren't those the people on the mountain? So they really have only this image of people on the mountain. And if they don't have that image, they have a different image, that it was like only the sexual slavery. So they only know about, for example, that ISIS took all the girls and children and sold them as slaves. But the genocide was much more than that. And this is, I think, the main reason why the world doesn't do a lot, because they don't seem to understand that it really was a genocide. It's also the reason why I wrote my book, because I interviewed a lot of people for this book. It wasn't only about Majdal. It was about the little children who were sold as to adoptive parents, to ISIS families, or as some kind of servant. The men who were murdered, of course. I don't have the feeling that the world really understands what happened over there until this day. Honestly, you never hear about all the men who were murdered, all the elderly women who were murdered because they were too old to be sold as slaves. So I think this is the main reason. The second reason is that, for example, in my country, we have a government and they basically don't want to take in refugees. So their idea is we should help them over there. So what they do, they send money to all those countries. And honestly, I don't always understand what happens to the money, because I don't see it in the camps. You know what I'm saying? So this is, I think, the second reason. And the third reason is also because people, Iraq is far away for Europe, for people living in Europe. They see them as the other people, and they are much more interested, in my opinion, about why ISIS women and ISIS fighters they went there to join ISIS. Yeah, and this is of course totally wrong, because it's not about them; it's about the victims. But unfortunately, the media in my country mainly focuses on ISIS women and why they joined ISIS and the Al-Hol camp, etc.
So why Europe is not helping the Yazidis on the ground?
I think the same problem is going on in all European countries. There is a lack of evidence. Here in my country, you cannot just be tried for participating in a genocide if you only joined them. You really have to prove that they did something to carry out the genocide, or that they participated in it. For example, they were a guard at a house where Yazidi women were sold, or in a camp where children were being trained, or they bought like someone from a slave market, all those things. And European governments, basically, they failed, because they should have investigated this a long time ago, like years ago already. They should have gone to the camps, interviewed people, built cases and stuff. But it didn't happen. And now you see that a lot of people, they will get away with it, with slavery, with genocide. It's really devastating, and it makes me also very angry, because we could have done more, I think, and especially when it comes to an international court. I think a lot of politicians in Europe, they thought like, okay, maybe someday an international court will come, so they had hope, but to establish that. But it didn't happen until this day. So what you see now is that Yazidi organizations, and for example, also journalists, they have to search for the proof, so that individuals, like for example, an ISIS fighter who returns to the Netherlands, he can be tried for those crimes. It's not the right way to do it. It should be the other way. Like the governments, the police departments, detectives and stuff, they should research it. And yeah, luckily now in Germany there are a lot more cases, but at the same time, sometimes I find the results quite yeah, devastating as well, because I recently read that a woman who was already tried for terrorism charges, because most of the Europeans, they are only being tried. The same is going on in Iraq as well, basically, for joining a terrorist organization. So the German government, they had extra proof that she had used two Yazidi slaves. So she let them do their clean their house and stuff. She only got 6 months extra jail time. That is not okay, because, and to come back to my earlier point, um, this whole cleaning the house thing by people who were enslaved, it was part of the bigger picture, the genocide. So why do they only get 6 months for that? It's not okay. Sorry, sometimes I get a little emotional if I talk about those things, because yeah, you watch this for year in, year after, like, and yeah, nothing changes.
Yeah, and it's